So we are starting to read The Ancient Secret of the Fountain of Youth by Peter Kelder. We're just starting the book. Today is the first day, day one.
Can 5 ancient Tibetan rites really make you look and feel years younger? Here's what readers are saying. By the time he reached retirement age, Dr. Joyle was an overweight, grey haired wreck, old before my time. He was stooped over and unable to turn his head because of an old neck injury. Since beginning the 5 rites, he reports, I have lost 20 pounds, have more energy, and feel more alert. My hair is brown black and thicker, with only a few streaks of grey at the temples. I have a full range of movement at my neck without pain and stand erect. I walk with a light, springy gait. My sexual desires and my abilities have all returned to normal. I cannot explain this medically or scientifically, yet I know that what has happened to me is absolutely true. People who have not seen me for years are astounded.
So these are basically all feedbacks, right? People who read the book and then have been using the tools or using the exercises, and it actually has made a big difference to them. So I just thought that we should go through all of these so that it sets the flavor for what we're going to be reading.
My muscular strength has improved, my shoulders are straighter, and my abdominal muscles are firmer. After 6 months, the grey hair at the back of my head began to turn back to its original dark brown. I've gotten my son, who is in medical school, to start doing the 5 rites too. Robert O. In the beginning, I was skeptical, but within 3 months, I could see muscles appearing on my formerly flabby body, and my weight went down from 175 to 160, where it stayed. My wife was underweight, and she gained 8 pounds and feels excellent.
So basically, what it's trying to say, it balances your weight to the weight that you need to be at, right? So if you're underweight, the exercises make your weight go up. If you are overweight, it will make it go down.
I recommended your book to several patients who later came back with glowing reports. So I began doing the 5 rites myself 3 weeks ago. After about 9 days, I felt a great increase in strength and endurance. I was able to climb stairs with heavy packages without any strain. A nutritionist I recently met told me he performed the 5 rites for 4 months and became much stronger, even though he was athletic for years and lifted weights regularly. His friends told him he had become younger looking.
So one of the fallouts of doing these exercises is that you start looking younger.
After 1 week, I noticed a remarkable change in my health and appearance. Now I look 10 years younger and almost never experience aches and pains in spite of a rigorous physical regimen. I recommended the book to my clients and it has cured them of arthritis, joint problems, chronic pain, weight problems, and I believe a host of emotional and mental problems. Before I read your book, I was only 19 years old, but felt 43. After just a few weeks, I noticed a big difference. I had more energy, lost weight, and got more done. I felt alive. I didn't feel like a 43-year-old or a 19-year-old either. I felt like a hyperactive 10-year-old. I only needed about 5 hours of sleep a night instead of the previous 10. Rob Hadley. Look younger. I have honestly never felt better in my life. I am 56 years old. I have lost weight. I am strong and energetic, and I look and feel 15 years younger. Not a week goes by that somebody doesn't remark how amazingly young I look. Most say I don't look a day over 40. My children in their mid 30s are amazed at my energy and youthful looks. So now they are doing the five rites. Esther Black. I not only feel younger, but I'm told by people who know my age, 73, that I look 20 years younger. My doctor, who is 58, complained that although he jogs 15 to 20 miles per week, I look younger than he does. I recommend this book to anyone who wants to halt the aging process. Jack Smithson. Recently, a friend of mine began to look much younger, and his full grey beard began to turn a lovely shade of brown. Upon questioning, he told me about the Fountain of Youth book. Since I started doing the five rites, here's what's happened to me. My insomnia and eczema have disappeared completely. My hot flashes said goodbye. I'm 53. After 25 years of bifocals, I no longer need glasses, and my eyes have turned to a lovely shade of blue like 25 years ago. I feel like I'm 16 again, but I'm going to miss my lovely silver hair. It's the only thing I liked about being older. Ida Schultz.
So it can affect the hair and it can affect eyesight also. You're muted.
Hair turns dark. The five rites seem like a good exercise program, but frankly, I didn't believe all the wild claims. I am now midway into my fourth week, and for the past 8 or so days have noticed my pretty silver grey hair turning black. I know this sounds crazy, but it's happening right before my eyes. This is weird, but I'm sold on your program. Elsie Nolt. My white hair is going back to light brown. No white hair left. Don't know the answer to that one. Ellie Stevens. When I began the rites, my beard and mustache were grey and my skin so pale. I looked like the ghost of my grandfather. Now my body has a good tone and complexion, and my beard and mustache have gradually changed color until they are nearly black. Also, I can read fine print, something I could never do before. Charles Hamilton. For a while, my hair was thinning and coming out. Now it's growing in again and becoming thicker. Henry B. Better memory. At age 83, I had lost all interest in life. I was thinking of putting myself in a home, and I didn't think I would live much longer. Then I discovered your book about the five rites. I have been doing them only a short time, but already my memory has improved 50%, and I feel so much more alive. Everyone tells me I'm looking younger all the time. Thanks to the five rights, I am a completely different person now and am continuing to improve. Everyone should read this book. E.B.K. Miller. My memory was getting so bad I was ashamed. Now, after using the rights daily for 2 months, I seem to be getting clarity of mind and much more energy. My friends notice the change too. I'm truly thankful that at age 62, I am youthing instead of aging. Adeline Neveu. The physical, emotional, and mental impact is tremendous. I feel better about myself. I'm more alert and generally more pleasant. My mind is quicker and clearer. My posture has improved substantially. I highly recommend this book to anyone of any age. Stephen Hunt. Arthritis relief. I had rheumatoid arthritis and was beginning to lose my ability to walk, as my feet and knees had been affected. I also had lots of back pain. I was in such bad shape. Now I can walk several miles and no longer have pain. I believe I would have been in a wheelchair today if it were not for your book. Janet Matson. Arthritis is very difficult to live with and control, but your book enabled me to stop it and actually reverse the process. It's the best medicine I have ever found. I will treasure it until the end of my time. I have arthritis in my left knee. Since I read your book, I've been able to almost completely stop the naproxen I was taking. For me, that is a miracle. I had sinus problems for 30 years, but I've been able to stop my sinus medication too. That also is a miracle. I cannot thank you enough for the great health you have given me. I no longer have to take any medications. James Bannon. The doctor said I was full of arthritis and there was nothing I could do about it. Since receiving your book 3 years ago, I have no more pain and can touch my toes with the palms of my hands. I can now read fine print without my glasses. I have no more sinus problems. And I can outwalk and outwork many friends 15 to 20 years younger than I am. Lucy Gilbert, age 95. I have had rheumatoid arthritis for 20 or more years. I was to the point of not being able to get up off the floor without hanging on to something. Also, I had to climb stairs one at a time like a child just learning to walk. Since reading your book, I can climb them again like I should. I can hardly wait to see what happens next. Phyllis Spector. Vision improvement. In just 1 week's time, I've noticed a great improvement in my vision, something I regard as remarkable. Another amazing thing, my hands, which looked very, very old, now look better than they have been in 10 years. Ruth D. Hall. My vision sharpened up, and my friend's eye doctor told her that her eyesight has improved too. Carolyn Carson. I have never felt so fit. My body is completely toned, no flat. I'm never tired. I don't need glasses. I recently had an eye test and my sight has never been better. My hair is thick and healthy. My energy and alertness can equal that of any young person half my age. June Seward. I was taking medication for angina, stomach ulcers, sinus problems, and was told I was a candidate for prostate cancer. Besides that, I was lame and my eyesight was failing. The symptoms are all but history now. Friends and family cannot understand how I look so much better. Douglas Bly. Energy, lasting power. I used to come home from work feeling absolutely exhausted, even on weekends after getting plenty of sleep. Since doing the rites, I'm always alert and full of energy. This past summer, I had more energy than anyone else on my softball team. The change has been absolutely unbelievable. Linda Felder. I used to drag myself half asleep to the class in the morning. After I do the rites, though, I feel refreshed and alert, even looking forward to my studies. Also, I'd been working out for quite some time with only mediocre results. Since starting the rides, I've noticed a dramatic improvement in my performance and an increase in how much I can lift. I am not sure I buy the metaphysical explanation, but I am sure that the five rights work. Thank you. Mark Perkins. I immediately noticed a change in my energy and feeling of well being. My days flow better and I have more lasting power on my job. This is true only when I do the five rights. A satisfied participant, aged 48. Weight loss. Before I read your book, I weighed 287 pounds. Now I weigh in at 199. Believe me, it works. Joseph M. Everything this book claims is true. I haven't been sick for 1.5 years, not even a cold. Without even trying, I went from 179 pounds to 149. My energy level has risen 100%. I don't come home from work dead tired anymore. Although I'm 58 years old, I could pass for early 40s. Yours is the best book I have ever purchased. John Olson. Since I started the rides, I've lost 20 or 25 pounds and 3 inches around my waist, and I've gone from a size 44 to a size 40. My body really feels at least 15 years younger, and I continue to grow younger each day. Ronald E. Bohm. I notice more energy and I've lost weight from 190 to 165 pounds. There seems to be a glow around my skin, a healthy color. My wife lost the same weight and inches as I did, and she's also lost cellulite around her tummy and legs. Eugene Keel. I lost 27 pounds and achieved more sexual pleasure. Dylan Starr. Within 6 months, the fat and flab began to disappear and muscles began appearing where they had never been before. My only sport is bowling, and at age 60, I became top woman bowler in all three leagues. I will always remember when another bowler said, "When I come back in my next life, I want a shape like yours." Grace Carlson. The sagging skin on my skin, uh, the sagging skin on my neck and jaws tightened up. I have more body strength, and facial wrinkles have disappeared. I highly recommend this book to all interested in their health. Those who don't have it don't know what they are missing. Michael Rowland. I've never found anything before that changes my body shape like this does. I actually have nice legs now, and my breasts are larger. When I follow the instructions in your book, everything seemed to move to the best and proper place. Paulette Schmidt. Pain relief. Before, I had so many aches and pains, knee pain, shoulder pain, migraines. Now I very seldom have headaches. My knee pain is gone. I never have colds. My sexual ability has been rekindled. And I receive many compliments from people who tell me I look much younger than my age. Casimiro Sanbolo. I'm going to be 70 May 1st. Had not your book come along, I would be in a wheelchair living on painkillers. I have deterioration of the bones, and my right knee was getting very bad with the rest of my joints. I'd go up the stairs with my hands on the steps, and I'd come down backwards. Thank God for your book. I now have no pain. When I look in the mirror, my arms are not as flabby. My neck looks better. Most important of all, there's no pain. Mary Riley. I had a severe low back condition resulting from a fractured vertebrae, nerve damage, and a degenerative disc condition. In addition, I developed a severe pain that ran from the lower back area up the spine to the base of the skull. And frequently I experienced spinal tremors. The first time I did right number 2, As I raised my legs, I felt and heard a snap, a pop, and a crunch in the lower back area. The pain stopped, relief was immediate, and the pain has not returned. Howard Stephens. My sciatic nerve was pinched. It was very painful, and I could only walk a short distance. My doctor said I might have to have surgery and would be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of my life. Then I read your book, began the 5 rites, and I haven't had any pain since. Vanetta Grant. Several years ago, I fell and injured my back. I was under care of my family doctor, an orthopedic doctor, and a pain specialist. I tried physical therapy, acupuncture, and chiropractic treatments. None helped. Then one day, I discovered your book. 3 months later, I was my old self again. My friends tell me I'm going backwards instead of getting older. I'm getting younger. Louis Masada. I had a sciatic condition and for 10 years I never went more than 4 days without some pain or discomfort. On 3 occasions the pain was so severe I was incapacitated. Then 4 weeks ago I started the rites and I haven't had a twinge or hint of discomfort since. Thank you for introducing me to my own fountain of youth. Pawn Wit. I have a narrowing of the spinal column which causes great pain. Since using your book, I am almost pain-free. Also, my kidneys and bladder work more normally. My sinus problem has improved 100%. I feel younger, more limber, and just all round better than I did before. June Tower. It took a couple of months for me to begin noticing that the lower back pain I had suffered with for 15 to 20 years had just about disappeared completely. For the last month or two, I think I've actually been getting more hair, thicker hair. I'm extremely pleased with my results. Carl Albent. After the first week, I realized my lower back pain was disappearing. Now, 13 months later, my knee has recovered about 95%, and my lower back pain never bothers me. I had more or less concluded my knee was crippled for life. So now I am a believer. Jeff Perry. Feel great. After 2 days, I could actually see results. As time goes by, I am seeing further startling improvement. I have purchased a lot of health books, and although they are good ones, nothing has helped me so much in such a short time as your book, Ruth S. This is one of the best books I know about at this time. I wish all the good people in the world knew about it. Nina Stewart. Thank you for publishing this wonderful book. Once I started to read it, I couldn't put it down. I am 77 and have been looking for a book like this all my life. Evelyn Sugden.
So we have all the feedback. Now we need to start reading the book and doing it for ourselves.
What will happen to all the doctors?
You see, the challenge here is that you have to do the exercises.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yes, of course.
And let me tell you, it actually happens because I've experienced it for myself.
Nice.
So I'm being selfish. I want to start doing the exercise again. So we are reading the book.
No, it will be good for all of us.
आगे बढ़ जाओ शिवंगला इसमें. Shimangla, you can skip this.
Yeah, the author of this book is not a medical doctor.
Just skip it.
Yeah, I'm skipping. Forward. All wisdom is ancient and in reality is not a secret. When you think you have discovered something new and previously unknown, It has probably existed for centuries. You didn't know about it simply because you didn't make the effort to seek it out.
So that's why, it's called research, right? That means we are researching what was already available. So this is what he's again emphasizing over.
And after all, why should you? Why look to the wisdom of ancient masters if modern science and technology can provide for all your needs and wants? I find that most people think this way until a life threatening illness occurs. Then they are forced to confront their own mortality, and a different perspective takes hold. As they realize that science and technology offer no solution to the crisis they face, their values and priorities begin to change. They awaken to life. They start to seek out wisdom that will help them engage in fully and meaningfully, to engage in life fully and meaningfully. They discover the joy of living.
So it's really sad, but what happens is that until people exhaust the allopathic methods of treatment, they don't look at the so-called alternate methods of treatment, right? Now, if you really see, these alternate methods have been existing for thousands of years. The shamans, our Veds, they used to perform these methods of healing and treating. Allopathy came very much later, and it was actually a conspiracy where allopathy became the mainstream and the other treatments became alternate therapy. Right. Now, if we can start using these so-called alternate therapies regularly in our life, then 90% chances are that we won't need the allopathic treatment at all. So actually, allopathy was the alternate treatment, right? Uh, there was actually a research done by these very rich and powerful families as to how people were treating themselves. And then the laws were created in the US, which created ultimately led to the creation of the FDA, which monitored all treatments and whether they could be called a treatment or not, right? So a lot of money was pumped into the pharmaceutical industry, and that's why it has such a big hold and so much of power. The FDA has to approve everything, right? And most alternate therapies are not approved by FDA. Now, if you want to take out a drug, you want to take out a treatment, there's such a stringent checking procedure, which is good, but it has its drawbacks, that only if you have you have really deep pockets, can you actually do it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it. So that eradicates and that, actually wipes out a lot of stuff that could have come into the world, but it gets wiped out because of these regulations. So again, balance is very important.
After years as a practicing physician, I discovered that there are three specific personality traits in people who face life threatening illness yet manage to survive longer than expected. They have a fighting spirit, a willingness to learn and change, and spiritual resourcefulness.
So this becomes very important, right? Now, this is being said by Dr. Bernie Siegel. He has written a lot of books on the process of healing, spontaneous healing, etc. himself. So what are the things? They have a fighting spirit that they want to get better, right? And they are willing to learn and change. So again, we come back to the same theory that if we are following the same process, we cannot expect a different result. So unless you are learning and you're changing, this is again what we read in Rich Dad Poor Dad. We've read it in Magical Child. We've read it in so many of the books that we've read, that if you're not willing to change, if you're not willing to learn, then you cannot affect a change. And of course, the spiritual connection, right? That is extremely important when you want to expand, because the spiritual connection allows you to start operating from the big guy rather than only the small guy.
Then I recently read the words of a Mahatma who said that a healthy individual displays three qualities: action, wisdom, and devotion. In other words, he had written the same thing that had taken me years to discover on my own. If I had sought out his words long ago, I could have used their wisdom to help more people, and I could have saved myself a good deal of time and energy.
So if you see, when you look at it from the Vedantic principle, he says over here, action, which is karma yoga, wisdom, which is gyan yoga, and devotion, which is bhakti yoga. So he's encompassing all the three yogas that we talk about, right? Which ultimately they work. All of us have all of these, but one of them may be more predominant. But if you see a successful person, he'll have qualities of all of them inculcated into him or her.
Bhaiya, can you just repeat that? Karma Yoga and what is the
Karma yoga is action. Okay.
Yeah.
Gyan yoga is wisdom,
Gyan.
knowledge.
Gyan.
And
That's
devotion is bhakti yoga.
Yeah, Gyan.
In the same manner, this book can save you time and energy. It contains very practical information and a great deal of wisdom, which you can use to start the process of youthing. And it can help you achieve a healthier and more fulfilling life. As you begin to read its pages and put its wisdom into practice, please keep in mind these few words of advice. First, as you follow the instructions in this book, be kind to yourself. If you're too demanding, you'll only be setting yourself up for failure. Instead, proceed at your own pace and you're in your own style. Take delight in your progress, even at times when progress is slow. Remember, youthing is a process and it can work only so long as you enjoy it.
So again, very, very important, right? We need to drop criticizing ourselves. We need to step out of the way. We need to enjoy what we are doing. Only when you enjoy what you are doing, do you learn, do you create value for yourself. If only when you enjoy, things become effortless rather than effortful. So you need to enjoy the process that is in the book. We need to be gentle with ourselves. We are normally very harsh with ourselves, and do it one step at a time in a relaxed way, and it will automatically happen. Again, I'm saying this because I actually went through the process and did it myself, right? One step at a time.
Next, see yourself as the person you want to be. Studies have shown that body chemistry is altered by the role an actor plays. The truth is, we are all actors on life's stage, and all our lives are shaped by the parts we choose to play. To recast yourself in a different role, change the way you see yourself, and the world will change its perception of you.
So again, we come back when we do the exercise called patterning in the workshops, right? One of the tenets is that you see yourself doing that. So do it in the present tense as if it is already happening, right? And then throw it out into that expanded state and then allow it to manifest the way that the universe wants to manifest it, right? Also, it's a fact we get this. This is very well explained in the Resilience Advantage program, that your thoughts affect the biochemistry in your body, right? Now, if we are operating, now this comes back to the grid. If we are operating from the left side of the grid, the biochemicals secreted are not good for growth. They are not good for your well-being. When you are operating on the right side of the grid, the biochemicals produced in the body are good for repair and maintenance, for healing, for upliftment, for growth, right? So what are you thinking? The way that you are observing something can actually shift the entire thing in your mind. So a shift in perspective can shift the total result of whatever is happening. This again we see in biofield tuning. Whenever the sun star stops at the eyes, it says that the way that you are looking at something, there is a question mark. So you need to shift the way that you're looking at something for things to move for you. Right. So over here he says, recast yourself in a different role, change the way you see yourself, and the world will change its perception of you. So your being, your state of being is going to shift the moment you shift the way that you perceive yourself.
And just as actors and athletes rehearse and practice, so must you. Let this book be your coach. Use it not to avoid death, but to enhance the quality of your life. Use it to find greater joy in living. Then be happily surprised by how long you live. Longevity is not the goal, it is the byproduct of a healthy life that is lived joyfully.
So,
Finally,
so again, it's very, very important, right? To enjoy what you do. If you are not living your life joyfully, then there is a question. If you're cribbing all the time, you're saying, I can't all the time, and you're just criticizing all the time, then you're creating a big problem for yourself. Okay. We have to start living joyfully.
finally, never forget that the source of the fountain of youth is you. You are in charge. You have the power to activate the life and death mechanisms in your own body. I say this not to blame you, but to empower you. Don't wait until you are near death before you awaken to life. Begin now to live life fully and set the youthing process in motion. Peace.
So again, what is it saying very clearly over here, right? That we need to take responsibility for what is happening. Okay. We are in charge. We are responsible for everything that is happening to us. And if we do not affect the change, no one can affect the change for us.
Part 1. Every man desires to live long, but no man would be old. Jonathan Swift. One afternoon some years ago, I was sitting in the park reading the afternoon paper when an elderly gentleman walked up and seated himself alongside me. Appearing to be in his late 60s, he was grey and balding, his shoulders drooped, and he leaned on a cane as he walked. Little did I know that from that moment forward, the whole course of my life would change. It wasn't long before the two of us were engaged in a fascinating conversation. It turned out that the old man was a retired British Army officer who had also served in the diplomatic corps for the Crown. As a result, he had traveled at one time or another to virtually every corner of the globe. And Colonel Bradford, as I shall call him, though it is not his real name, held me spellbound with highly entertaining stories of his adventures. When we parted, we agreed to meet again, and before long, a close friendship had developed between us. Frequently, we got together at his place or mine for discussions and conversations that lasted late into the night. On one of these occasions, it became clear to me that there was something of importance that Colonel Bradford wanted to talk about, but for some reason he was reluctant to do so. I attempted to tactfully put him at ease, assuring him that if he wanted to tell me what was on his mind, I would keep it in strict confidence. Slowly at first, and then with increasing trust, he began to talk. While stationed in India some years ago, Colonel Bradford had from time to time come in contact with wandering natives from remote regions of the interior. and he had heard many fascinating stories of their life and customs. One strange tale that particularly caught his interest was repeated quite a number of times and always by the natives of a particular district. Those from other districts seem never to have heard of it. It concerned a group of lamas or Tibetan clerics who, according to the story, had discovered the secret of eternal youth. For thousands of years, this extraordinary knowledge had been handed down by members of this particular sect. And though they made no effort to conceal anything, the lamas were completely cut off from the outside world by vast uninhabited mountain ranges. Their knowledge remained a secret known only to themselves. This monastery and its fountain of youth had become something of a legend to the natives who spoke of it. They told stories of old men who mysteriously regained health, strength, and vigor after finding and entering the monastery. But no one seemed to know the exact location of this strange and marvelous place. Like so many other men, Colonel Bradford had become old at the age of 40, and since then had not been growing any younger. The more he heard of this miraculous fountain of youth, the more he became convinced that such a place actually existed. He began to gather information on directions, the character of the country, the climate, and other data that might help him locate the spot. And once his investigation had begun, the colonel became increasingly obsessed with a desire to find this fountain of youth. The desire, he told me, had become so irresistible, he had decided to return to India and search in earnest for this retreat and its secret of lasting youth. And Colonel Bradford asked me if I would join him in the effort. Normally, I would be the first to be skeptical of such an unlikely story, but the colonel was completely sincere, and the more he told me of this fountain of youth, the more I became convinced that it could be true. For a while, I was tempted to join the colonel's search, but as I began to take practical matters into consideration, I finally sided with reason and decided against it. As soon as Colonel Bradford had left, I began to doubt whether I had made the right decision. To reassure myself, I reasoned that perhaps it's folly to want to conquer aging. Perhaps we should all simply resign ourselves to growing old gracefully and not ask more from life than others expect. Yet in the back of my mind, the haunting possibility remained: a fountain of youth. What a thrilling idea! For his sake, I hoped that the colonel might find it.
Okay. I think we can stop here for today.